You want some more? We're back with Macabre Hill. North of Kansas City, roughly between I-35 and I-29, exists a small town called Plattsburgh, Missouri. It's one of those little towns that you discover when you're going from one place to another, and it just happens to be on the route you take in between. Plattsburgh is a delightful visit. It's got the staple of great small towns, antique stores, some cool restaurants, and some delightful 1800s and early 1900s architecture. It also has its fair share of ghosts. If you decide to stay the night in Plattsburgh, I highly recommend the Pink Rosebud Bed and Breakfast. Even if you stay there alone, you won't be the only guest in the house. Let's talk about the history of the Pink Rosebud first. The owner is John Huffman.
It's built in a neighborhood that is a very old neighborhood. The first houses on the block were built in 1831 and 1832. The land that our house sits on is next to a house that was built in 1832, which was used in the Civil War as a hospital. And they also, at that time, owned some slaves. In fact, we have a tree where there is a chain that has grown into the tree, which has been authenticated as a slave chain, where they bound the slave up for punishment. The house was originally built in 1878 as a wood frame house. Then in 1912, James Bohart, who was the resident at that time, was federal judge down in Kansas City, and at that time they were tearing down the federal courthouse, which was made out of Carthage limestone, to build a new one. He purchased all the stone from the demolition, hauled it up to Plattsburgh, and in 1914 one man started laying the stone around the original wood frame house and also put a small addition onto it at the same time. In the early 80s, the house fell into disrepair, and in the early 1990s, they sold the house to a couple. They sold it to another couple, and they put it up for sale, and we happened to stumble across it, and we bought it in 1996.
People can see pictures of the house and the inside of it if they will visit your website, pinkrosebudbandb.com. When did you realize that you hadn't bought just a house, but perhaps some house guests?
I believe it was the second weekend. I have a wife who loves to decorate, and part of her decoration is to make sure curtains are ironed and cleaned. And she was ironing some curtains in one of the bedrooms, and the bedroom door opened, and a translucent image of a young man in gray slacks and a blue waistcoat came in and stood there and watched her iron, then started opening and closing a door that went out onto the balcony. Finally, my wife got her jaw off the floor because we were totally non-believers when we bought this house, and looked at him and said, please leave me alone, and he disappeared. That was our very first experience with our house guests.
You're actually prepping the house, and one of the first experiences you have is to literally see a physical ghost.
Yes.
It's not an orb, it's not some freaky thing, it wasn't just the door opening, you saw the figure.
My wife did, yes.
Have you seen it more since then?
Oh, yes. We actually have three, we call them permanent room guests. We see 2 to 3 times a year.
What are the other ones?
We have a lady of color who wears a yellow dress with a white apron and a yellow and pink polka-dotted bandana, and we've been able to trace her to being the nanny of the last matriarch that owned the home. She lived in the home from the mid-teens to the early 1930s. We've been able to trace the young man in the gray slacks and the blue waistcoat to a relative of James Bohart's wife. He was accused of murder, and 2 weeks before his trial, I guess they didn't keep him in prison. Anyway, he was in another home, and he hung himself, but they had the funeral there in our house. The third image that we see is a big gray cat. We have no idea whose pet it was, where it came from, but it drives my 3 cats wild when it decides to have a little fun.
Have you had any guests encounter any of these spirits?
We've had many guests that have encountered the spirits. We've had guests that they come down in the morning for their breakfast and they're white-faced, gray. They've had their bed shaken. They've had their covers taken off, or if they're sleeping without covers, put on. Their TV channels will change without them trying to change them. TVs will come on and off at odd times in the middle of the night. One of the funniest stories we had is we had 4 couples from Minneapolis to come down, and we're sitting on our front porch and enjoying an adult beverage, and all of a sudden we heard these screams, and we ran out on the front porch, and our nanny had floated across the front porch and through the front door. They were quite distraught.
This doesn't happen all the time, right? I mean, we have these specific occurrences, but also there are nights when it is just calm and delightful.
Oh, yeah. You never know when it's going to occur. We can go 3-4 months and not have anything. Then we'll have a period of 2 or 3 months where we have a lot of activity. In fact, in the last 3 months, we've had guests who have said that they've heard a young girl singing. No one had ever said anything about this prior to about a year ago.
Have you ever had a medium come out to investigate?
We've had some paranormal clubs that have come out with their fancy recorders and energies, sensing devices and so forth, and every one of them that's come out is picked up images and sensed the energy that our guests give off.
Pink Rosebud Bed and Breakfast. It's located in Plattsburgh, Missouri on Birch Avenue. Be sure to visit pinkrosebudbnb.com for pictures of the inside and the outside of the house, plus maps on how to get there and to make reservations. We look forward to spending the night sleeplessly in your house.
Okay.
If you go to the Folly Theater on 12th Street in Kansas City, take a good look at the usher. If she's wearing a long gown and in a hurry going down the aisle, she might be a well-known ghost. Feel free to ask for Joe Donegan to complain. If he's there, he'll be wearing a bowler hat. He used to manage the Folly, still does occasionally, from the grave.
It creeps, it crawls, it hungers for one thing. You. Something wicked this way comes.
At the end of August, Kansas City is going to see true horror. Crypticon Kansas City is taking place August 24th through 26th. It's a convention happening at the Ramada Inn, Kansas City at I-435 and Front Street. You can come bathe in the horror. 3 days of all things horrible. Check it out at CrypticonKansasCity.com for everything that's going on. I'm very excited about this show. It's not expensive. The Friday pass is $20, Saturday $25, Sunday $15, or you can get all 3 days for just $40. Get those tickets online now at CrypticonKansasCity.com, or you can buy them at the ticket booth. Now, the guests that are coming into Crypticon Kansas City include Ernie Hudson. He was the 4th Ghostbuster. You know, he was also the good guy cop in the first Crow movie. He was in Congo and Oz. Michael Berryman. Who the heck is that? You may not know the name, but you know that face. Michael Berryman has hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia. He has no sweat glands, hair, fingernails, or teeth. That isn't the way to fill out your resume for a career in Hollywood, but he did it. He was in The Hills Have Eyes. Now you know who he is, right? 1977. The Devil's Rejects. He was in Weird Science as one of the biker guys. He was in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, and even in an X-Files episode where he played an angel. He has been in so many different movies, even One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. There's like 78 different things that he's been in. Michael Berryman is a hand worth shaking. Also there, Tom Savini. You know him. You love him. Dark, bushy eyebrows. Classic cool guy goatee. He was the dude with the 6-gun crotch in From Dusk Till Dawn. He was in Machete. He was a motorcycle rider in the original Dawn of the Dead. Then he played a county sheriff in the 2004 version of Dawn of the Dead. He was Jesus Christ in Zombiegeddon, and I loved him to pieces, literally, in the Planet Terror movie. He's also a special effects artist. Tom Savini's going to be there. If I wasn't already fanboy enough of Crypticon Kansas City, this sealed the deal for me. A Night of the Creeps reunion.
I say, what the hell? You gotta do it, you gotta do it.
This is an awful, wonderful 1980s horror film. There's going to be a reunion of the best 3 characters from that movie.
Thrill me.
Tom Atkins, he played the hilarious hard-boiled detective.
I'm sure as hell never gonna get laid, so I might as well help out my best friend, right?
Alan Kaiser, who played the wisecracking paraplegic. That's not something you often see in horror flicks.
We don't have to have sex with a farm animal.
Do we?
And Jason Lively, he was the lovelorn ginger goober / hero. And there's more too. Serena Vincent, she was the naked foreign student from Not Another Teen Movie. Doug Jones, he played Abe in Hellboy. Barbara Nedyokova, the hottie from Hostel 1, Hostel 2, and Strippers vs. Werewolves, plus many others. If you want to get detailed updates and to share your own joie de morte, check out KC Crypticon on Facebook. Plus, Crypticon Kansas City is hosting an indie horror film festival. All kinds of prizes. You can even upload your film online. For all the guest lists, to get tickets, to find out the who, the what, when, and where, go to CrypticonKansasCity.com. Crypticon Kansas City, coming to our hometown of KC, August 24th through 26th, the Ramada Inn, Kansas City, I-435 and Front Street. I'll be there. I hope you will be too. Got a spooky tale? Got a haunted location? Let me know about it. Send an email to markinthedark@macabrehill.com. Up next in the corridors of Macabre Hill, Missourians in 1811 and 1812 really knew how to shake their booty, and heading west from Kansas City on I-70 can be a truly scary experience, and not just because of the road signs. Chain yourself down for more Macabre Hill.